Let's step into a world where the crash of the sea, a relentless, merciless force that claws at the rocks with a fury as old as time itself. The waves slam violently against jagged cliffs, grinding ancient stone into whispers of dust, secrets of forgotten ages swirling in the mist. The ocean is not just water and salt, it is memory, loss, and the voice of something ancient and unfathomable. You stand alone on a forsaken shore, where the horizon is swallowed by a sky that never truly wakes. The clouds hang heavy and low, like bruises pressed against the earth's fragile shell, suffocating the land beneath a shroud of endless twilight. The wind carries with it a chill that bites deep into your bones, threading through your very soul with icy claws, leaving behind a coldness that feels as though it was always meant to be there. The air is thick with the scent of salt and decay, an oppressive reminder of the countless things lost to the abyss. Time feels fractured here, as though every moment stretches impossibly long, leaving echoes of silence in your mind. The shoreline stretches on endlessly in both directions, a prison of monotony and dread. Each grain of sand seems to pulse with a memory not your own, stories of ships that never returned, and sailors swallowed whole by the endless dark beneath the waves. You came here for answers. At least, that's what you told yourself. The map, creased and brittle, its edges frayed by time's cruel hands, had been buried deep within your grandfather's chest, hidden beneath layers of forgotten memories and unspoken regrets. The ink was strange, shimmering faintly beneath the ghostly light of the moon, lines and curves forming symbols you couldn't recognize but felt drawn to. The legends whispered of something ancient, something older than history itself, something waiting. Every step forward carried the weight of inevitability, as if fate itself had led you here, guiding your every footfall with the gravity of unseen hands. The air grows thick with every step you take across the blackened sand. Each footfall sinks deeper than the last, as if the earth itself resists your intrusion, clutching at you with unseen hands, pulling you closer to something unseen beneath the surface. The wind howls not with rage, but with cold intent, carrying with it a sound that doesn't belong, a delicate harmony woven into the chaos. It's not the roar of nature, nor the sigh of a forgotten god. It's something softer, something insidious, a melody, barely heard, yet impossible to ignore. It hums at the edges of your mind, brushing against memory and fear, awakening thoughts you didn't know existed, whispers of forgotten dreams and shadows cast by long-lost regrets. You find it just before midnight. The moon hangs high, a pale eye peering through the suffocating blanket of clouds, casting silver light that seems to drain the color from the world. The sea beyond is unnervingly still, like a sheet of obsidian glass stretched across the horizon, holding within it the secrets of 1,000 forgotten civilizations. An altar carved from obsidian, slick as oil under the pale moonlight, rises from the sands. It stands like a scar against the earth, jagged and raw, with symbols spiraling down its sides, glyphs that twist and writhe when left unobserved, shapes that defy reason and claw at the edges of understanding. A sudden chill seeps into your spine as realization strikes deep. This is no relic of forgotten worship. This is a door, a portal not meant to be opened, a boundary between the known and the unknowable, a fracture in the fabric of reality, sealed not by will, but by fear. You approach, every instinct screaming for you to turn away, but you don't. You can't. Beneath the fear, there is something more powerful, certainty. You reach out, pressing your hand against the impossibly cold surface. The stone breathes beneath your palm. It's not dead. It's alive. A pulse throbs beneath your fingers, slow and deep, like the heartbeat of something vast and slumbering beneath the waves, ancient and forgotten. The melody sharpens, becoming crystalline in its clarity. Voices weave into the air around you, not speaking in any tongue you know, yet you understand, on a level deeper than thought, deeper than language. The ground quivers violently as a fissure rips through the altar, spilling a dense, ink-black mist that coils upward, writhing like a living shadow. The mist stretches outward, dark tendrils slithering toward you with a hunger that defies understanding, curling around you like a predator circling its prey. You should run. Every fiber of your being screams for escape, for flight, for release from the tightening grasp of the void. But instead, you listen. The voices speak of the drowned one, not a god of flesh or spirit, but of loss incarnate, a being woven from sorrow so profound that even the fabric of reality recoils from its touch. It is not bound by mortal comprehension. It transcends pain, transcends fear. It is those things, the embodiment of despair given shape, cast beneath the endless waves by those who once dared to defy its madness. It was not shackled by iron or stone, but by something far crueler: neglect, forgotten, abandoned, and sealed within a prison crafted not of chains, but of silence, where time ceases to hold meaning. But there is no true forgetting. Its essence lingers in the shadowed corners of the world, in the cold shiver of the deep ocean trenches, where sunlight has never dared to reach. Its presence is written in the nightmares of those who live near the sea, whispered through generations in stories told by trembling firesides. The drowned one, an ancient terror whose madness lies not in its rage, but in the suffocating stillness of its desire to reclaim what was once lost. It slumbers beneath crushing depths so profound that even the weight of the ocean cannot suppress its hunger for remembrance. Dreams ripple outward from its abyssal cradle, dark echoes that seep into the thoughts of the living, poisoning their hopes and unraveling their sanity like threads pulled loose from a fragile tapestry. And now, your presence has awakened the currents of that endless sleep, stirring something that should have remained untouched. You feel it beneath your skin, a slow, creeping cold that whispers not just of death, but of obliteration, of being swallowed whole by something that does not hate you, but simply knows you and will unmake you. The mist tightens, wrapping around you like a lover's embrace, turned cruel. Visions crash through your thoughts, cities swallowed by colossal waves, sky-high walls of water crashing down, devouring civilization in an endless hunger. Tentacles of liquid shadow coil through those visions, dragging entire worlds into an abyss that knows no mercy. Eyes peer through the void, countless and cold, seeing not just your body, but your sins, your regrets, your secrets. The melody twists. It's no longer a warning. It's an invitation. You stagger back, heart clawing wildly at your chest, but your limbs betray you. The altar hums with ancient power as the fissure splits wider, and then it emerges, a hand, pale as bone beneath layers of rotted flesh, its elongated fingers ending in claws blackened with decay. Water drips from the hand in slow, deliberate beads that refuse to shimmer. The voice comes clearer than ever. You have found me. You will bring me home. The air collapses inward, suffocating in its sudden stillness, as the hand grips the edge of the altar with a slow, deliberate force, each finger sinking into the stone as though it were soft clay. You cannot move. Every muscle in your body locks, your breath caught halfway between a gasp and a scream. Time seems to stretch unnaturally, every second an eternity carved from pure dread. The rest of it rises slowly from the void, an abomination that defies logic and reason, a form too vast and unearthly to fully comprehend. Its surface ripples like liquid shadow, shifting shapes bleeding into one another, a kaleidoscope of horror too overwhelming for the mind to hold. The darkness clings to it, a living shroud that pulses with a rhythm older than existence itself. It has no face, yet you see it, an absence that feels more vivid than any presence, a void that stares back into your very soul. Recognition strikes with merciless precision, a blade of realization cutting through every fragile barrier you thought could protect you. This thing is not a stranger. No, it is ancient and intimate, an echo from the deepest, most primitive corner of your consciousness. You've always known it, hidden somewhere beneath the fragile layers of your waking thoughts, buried in the marrow of your bones, nestled inside your most ancient fears. It is the shape you glimpsed in every nightmare, the shadow at the edge of every dream, the terror you've never dared to name. And now, it has risen, not as memory, but as reality. The sea roars. You are no longer standing on the shore. The sand has vanished beneath your feet, replaced by an endless, obsidian ocean, still and mirror flat, stretching into infinity. The sky above fractures open, and there are no stars, only eyes, thousands of them, watching, waiting, hungering not for flesh, but for your soul. The drowned one rises before you, an impossible colossus, patient and vast. The melody coils into every corner of your mind, threading through every regret, every memory, every hidden guilt. You see now with brutal clarity. This was never about discovery. It was about returning. You try to scream, you cannot, because now you understand. This is not a prison for the drowned one. This is a threshold. And you are the key. The next morning dawns hollow and gray. The sky stretched thin like a dying breath, heavy with the weight of unsaid omens. The wind, once sharp and restless, now moves with a sluggish reluctance, dragging itself across the barren landscape like a wounded creature. The shore lies deathly still, a desolate expanse of blackened sand untouched by time, as if centuries had passed in a single night. No footprints mar the smooth surface. No sign remains of your presence, nor any trace of the terror that had unfurled like a black flower under the moon's pale gaze. The jagged rocks lining the coast stand solemn and unmoved, guardians of ancient secrets too deep for memory to recall. No broken twigs litter the ground, no signs of struggle or departure, only an eerie stillness that stretches on, smothering every whisper of life. The altar remains, untouched and unmoved, an obsidian monolith standing defiant against the creeping fog that now snakes along the ground. Its slick black surface glistens under the weak light of dawn, every carved symbol sharp and hungry, as if the stone itself had feasted on the fear that once filled the air. It stands as more than just a monument. It is a sentinel, an unblinking eye upon a silent world. And above, the sky offers no comfort, just an endless, smothering canvas of gray, pressing downward with the crushing weight of inevitability. The sea remains unnaturally calm, not a single wave breaking the surface, as though the ocean itself is holding its breath, waiting for something unseen. The silence is not peace, it is anticipation. But if you dare to listen, if you strain your ears beneath the wind's sigh and the crash of distant waves, you might hear it still, a whisper of melody, faint and persistent, pulsing louder with every passing tide. And deep beneath the waves, in a place where the sun has never dared to shine, something moves. It is waiting. The stars shine above, their light filtering through the dense canopy of a forgotten forest. The path before you is ancient, cobbled stone cracked and overtaken by moss, leading ever forward toward the ruins of a civilization lost to time. You take a deep breath. Tonight, you will finally uncover the truth. The legend speaks of a creature not born of flesh and bone, but of absence itself. A thing older than the gods, older than the first whispered prayers of men. It is a predator not of bodies, but of existence itself. They call it the devourer of time. It is said that those who encounter it do not simply die. No, their fate is far worse. They are erased. Their presence, their history, every memory of them is devoured until it is as though they never were. A name on the tip of your tongue that refuses to form. Imagine the fear that grips you as you realize you have always been alone. You reach the ruins now, the remnants of a kingdom that once stretched beyond the horizon, yet no scroll, no book, no tale remembers it. The devourer was here once. It fed, and history itself was rewritten to forget. A chill runs down your spine. The ruins stretch before you, the shadows twisting in unnatural ways. Your torch flickers as if recoiling from something unseen. And then, you hear it. A whisper. It is not a voice, not truly. It is the absence of sound, an impossible thing that should not exist. You step forward, and the moment your foot touches the stone, your mind twists. Your memories blur. Who were you before this moment? What brought you here? Your heart pounds. Your hand trembles as you reach for your blade. But the metal is rusted, worn. How long have you been standing here? The realization crashes down upon you. It is already feeding. You turn to run, but the path behind you is no longer there. The trees, the forest, even the sky above, all swallowed into oblivion. You are standing in the void, and then you see it. Not with your eyes, for the mind refuses to comprehend its form. It is a presence, a force, an unraveling. The air folds inward, space itself twisting as the thing moves. Or perhaps it does not move, but reality shifts around it, unable to contain its existence. It is hungry. It always has been. It always will be. You try to scream, but the sound does not come. The concept of your voice is stripped from you, and then you realize the legend was wrong. It does not erase you all at once. It devours you slowly, savoring each moment, each thought, each piece of your existence as it peels them away one by one. The last thing you remember is the name of the one you loved most, and then even that is gone. Time stretches. Your very perception of it begins to fragment. Have you been here for mere moments? Or has it been centuries? The thing that feasts upon you lingers, savoring every fraction of your identity, pulling at the strings of your soul like a cruel musician plucking the last notes of a dying symphony. You feel a flicker of resistance, the faintest memory of your own defiance. Somewhere, in another life, you were strong. You fought. You loved. You lived. The shadow that looms over you hesitates as if tasting the remnants of something unexpected. Will. The will to remain. The will to exist. Even in the face of the void. The devourer quivers, the space around it shifting in ways impossible to describe. Perhaps it has encountered this before. Perhaps, in the unfathomable eternity of its existence, it has seen mortals claw their way back from its maw. And yet, how many have succeeded? How many have truly defied the fate it has woven into the very fabric of reality? With all your strength, you latch onto a single thought, a single moment from the past, a laugh, a whisper, a promise. You do not remember whose it was, but you know it meant something. You know that once you mattered. With a gasp, you force yourself to speak, though the words slip through your fingers like sand in a storm. I am still here. The void shudders. The creature recoils, and for the first time, it knows something akin to hesitation. You are not the first to stand before it. You will not be the last. But perhaps, just perhaps, you are something it has not encountered in a long, long time. And then the ruins stand empty once more. No footprints in the dust. No remnants of a struggle. No sign that anyone ever came searching for the truth. The stars shine above, their light filtering through the dense canopy of a forgotten forest. The path before you is ancient, cobbled stone cracked and overtaken by moss, leading ever forward toward the ruins of a civilization lost to time. You take a deep breath. Tonight, you will finally uncover the truth.